Most of us seem to agree that the world needs a change. But changing the world seems like a very daunting task, doesn't it? But what if we could change the world by starting small? By starting in the places where we live, our communities, our towns, our cities. What if we could affect change from the inside in just a small way? With the upcoming municipal elections, what if we could put a good man in here on town council? Would he be able to affect change in our community? I came here to Confederation Park, the home of the People's Alliance protests, to get some answers. This is the conversation I had prior to this interview with Town Council candidate Blaine Carlsen, where he refused to get any of the questions before the interview. Introducing 2021 Town Council candidate Blaine Carlsen.
Tell the people a little bit about yourself and why you decided to run for town council.
Well, first let me thank you guys for doing all of this and all the things that you do for our little group and our little community here in Taber, Alberta. We've been lost for a long time, and I'm glad that you guys found me and that I found you. I was born and raised in Taber. 45 years old. I don't know if you want me to go all the way back, but had brother and two sisters, grew up on a farm not very far from here, went to LT Westlake and then D. Ferguson and then W.R. Myers. From there, I wanted to see a little bit more of the world, and I went all the way to Calgary and then Edmonton after that. It didn't get too much more adventuresome for me after that. I came home to Taber to find that it wasn't quite the same place that I'd left behind, and that's all fair enough and wonderful too, because things change. But the thing that's bothered me the most is this nanny state that we've set up for ourselves. This idea that we cannot trust one another to make good choices for ourselves, to take care of our own families, to be brave, to be the hero of our own stories, and that's all just been being stripped away from us, one little decision at a time. And I don't like it. I'd much rather live in a community of competent, successful, happy, well-adjusted people that can think for themselves, that can reason out things, they can compare things to one another in context with each other. And I think all of us folks in Taber have the ability to do this to some extent, and we should start trusting each other until we've given each other reasons not to trust each other. So I'm not sure how close I came to answering that, but I think the reason I got into this is because I feel like we're not being respected as human beings by the elites that are trying to lead us around by our noses.
What does finding strength in community mean, and how does it relate to your platform for a town council position?
Well, the finding strength in community came to me the other night because I had been thinking about how I started this journey of discovery on my own. Back in May of 2020, I did a one-man demonstration. I made up a little sign and I went over in front of the municipal building and I walked back and forth for a couple hours, and one human being stopped and talked to me. That was Louis Thames, and I really appreciated him stopping to find out what was going on. But I felt so alone. fast forward through 6 or 7 more unhappy-ish months of lockdown and misinformation, and just heartbreak to see what my other fellow human beings are letting themselves be led to. You guys found me, and I found my little community and my little family, and every Saturday we've been out here since, and we found strength in each other. We weren't just polystyrene bags floating around in the breeze, twirling around, chasing our tail. We had other folks that could see the same things, that could bring up new information and new ideas, and I feel like a much, much stronger human being because of the community that I have around me, and I think Tabor could use some of that. I want Tabor to be the kind of place that my rose-colored glasses remember my childhood Tabor as. I kind of want us to be a community again.
You are a leading member of a local protest group. How does that play into your candidacy, and what are your plans regarding this group if you are elected?
Well, formerly Anti-COVID Alliance, now the People's Alliance, is a group of human beings that I've come together with, and it's been really good for me, and I think it's been good for lots of them too. And I don't see myself being in any sort of conflict, although I'm open to be convinced otherwise in case I'm wrong, because I hate being wrong. I'd way rather find out something and then not be wrong again next time. But be that as it may, as I see it right now, I don't see any conflict in that, especially seeing as it is not. I don't believe that it is our municipal government's place to be putting any sort of health restrictions on us. And you know, I know that there's probably some nuances in there where, yes, definitely they are responsible for the licensing of businesses and things such as that, and there's going to be some health considerations in that, but it is our provincial government's purview to be able to make these choices and recommendations. Not that I think they're doing a good job of it, but a municipal government has no business playing big daddy government the way that our municipal government has. They need to let people live their lives and stay out of their business, and make a good local government should almost be invisible. They should be there to make it so that things move smoothly. And when they're doing their job well, all they should be there for is the handshaking and the pictures that we see our local council getting on the local newspaper for. But it seems like they think that that's the biggest part of their job, is making sure that they get elected again next year.
What areas do you think our town needs improvement, and how could your position as a town councillor allow you to improve these things? The biggest opportunity I see for us here is developing our closer knit community once again. The coming together, the having communal things to be able to celebrate with one another, the cheering for one another rather than the poo-pooing all over what everybody else is doing. The making sure that your own backyard is taken care of instead of coming into my backyard to cut some Indian grass and then charge me $80 for it. Come into my backyard because there's some Indian grass back there? Like, what kind of nanny state are we living in? If a friend of mine was trying to build a shop, I'm not even sure which flavor inspector he was, but he was like a building code inspector, and this guy made it so impossible for them to build this shop. And there was 3 different parties waiting to get into this shop and start doing business and making things better for our community. But no, this Karen, who decided that he's got the pad of paper and can, with his big fat check marks, holds all the power in the world, he decided that these people shouldn't be able to make money. This is the kind of big government that does not belong in Alberta. We're getting in the way of letting folks be successful. And if I come in, like, that's going to be a big part of what I hope to be able to do, is ask the questions of, why are we doing this? Under what authority are we doing this? What is the problem we're trying to solve here? What are the potential consequences of this short-term, medium-term, long-term? Because I just don't feel like these sorts of things are being addressed. It's more like, oh, what do I feel like right now? What are my feelings telling me? I feel like I should be scared of stuff. I feel like I can't trust other human beings. I feel like they all need to be controlled so that I can be safe. I'd much rather trust each and every one of you until there's been a reason that we need to change our course.
Any interest in a mayoral position in the future?
Well,
that was a question from the group.
I've had several people ask me about that. I think possibly the problem is right now that I don't have enough faith in my own abilities, and I'd like to start off at the job where I can learn how things work before I'm the one that's guiding the ship and telling people how things are supposed to be. I need to build up my own competence and my own human capital before I'm able to serve my community in a role like that. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking here is, I know I'm an acquired taste, but those who like me do seem to like me a lot, and I'd like to get my foot in the door, learn how to contribute to my community in this way, and then be the very best contributor that I can to that community. If it's as a mayor at some point, that'd be cool, and if it's some other role, I'm down for that too. I'm here to do the work.
Our political systems, even at the local level, have failed us quite terribly in some people's opinions. What can you bring to the table to start us along the road to real change?
Well, first thing I think I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to start small. Things are always way easier to screw up than they are to fix. Always way easier to screw things up than to fix them. So to start with, I'm going to be hoping to do lots and lots of learning, and I want to be able to get out and talk to lots of different people. I just sat in on a special council meeting last week, and I was listening to Councillor, what's Carl's last name all of a sudden? I can't remember. Beckering. He's asking questions of folks. And when I first heard the questions, I was like, why is he asking that question? And then the answer came, and I was like, he knows something I didn't. And there's going to be lots of that for me. There's going to be lots of things that I don't know a whole bunch about to start with, and I'm going to learn. And then as we go along, I would like to start making government smaller. My sister was born in 1986. I walked from the school over to the hospital that afternoon after school to go meet my sister and see my mom. It was a Wednesday. My mom thought I'd been smoking on the way home. I was 11 years old at the time, so I definitely was not smoking, but she smelled something. What she smelled was all the burning barrels that I'd walked past going down all the back alleys, because in 1986, we used to burn garbage in our back alleys, and the town is still here. Like, it didn't all burn down. Why do we have 5 pages worth of guidelines to be able to burn a fire in your backyard? Why don't we trust people to do what people have always done? We pay all these big salaries for people to make all these silly rules that if we just trust each other to have some common sense and then teach each other when we've screwed up and say, hey, you screwed up, don't do that again. Learn something from it. It'd save us a whole lot of money. We'd have a whole lot more to be able to reinvest in our community.